So I was sitting in my office one day and got a phone call, and it was Beth. And Beth said to me, Shaun, I've decided I'm going to retire. Work's just been hell this past week, and I've just had it. I don't want to be there anymore. So I want to start putting things in place to transition into retirement. I said, listen, before you do that, Beth, probably be a good idea for us just to meet, review your financial plan, and just assess things with a more objective point of view. And I think that would be a really good exercise before you sort of put your papers into your employer. So she agreed to that. So we got together, and I'll just share with you some of the highlights of Beth's situation. So she's age 60. So she's getting close to that retirement date she'd been planning for anyway. But this is a little bit more, this is a little premature in terms of our previous discussions. Age 60, she's decided that she wants to take her Canada pension plan at age 60. And of course, she's going to take her old age security as soon as she can at age 65. Beth has $400,000 in RSP accounts that she saved, and she's been able to put away $100,000 in her tax-free savings account. And she has total financial assets of $500,000. So what I did is we sat down and I just reviewed with Beth the current planning, and we kind of leaned into a little bit around some of the assumptions in her plan. Now, one of the things we had to talk about is her approach to her investment portfolio. So up until now, she's been pursuing more of a balanced portfolio strategy. But she said, Shaun, this whole retirement thing kind of freaks me out a little bit. I want to be really cautious, and I don't want to take on any more risks than necessary. So I want to look at a more of a guaranteed conservative portfolio. So what we did in the model, we just said, okay, well, we're going to put money in fixed income investments, and we used a 3% rate for inflation. And we assume that our fixed income portfolio, GICs and bonds, would average 3.5%. Okay, so I didn't say she shouldn't do it. I just said, okay, let's walk through the implications of that decision. You just basically want to put money in the mattress, so to speak. And she's had conversations with us before. She understands that getting basically a risk-free, very conservative investment probably is not going to cope with inflation and taxes very well, but so be it. We began to run the analysis with that assumption. So when Beth booked the appointment, I just said to her, make sure you go into your Service Canada account, get your update for your Canada pension plan. And when she came into the office, she confirmed that she's going to be at 85% of the CPP maximum at age 65. And because she wants to take it early, that's going to reduce, because of the actuarial penalty, it's going to reduce the benefit to 54% of the maximum. So her Canada pension plan benefit is going to be $9,355. And then her old age security benefit will be $8,732 starting at age 65. And of course, both these benefits we've assumed would be fully indexed to inflation. Now, before we ran the analysis, I asked her to just review her budget needs with me again, and she seemed to confirm that she needed about $40,000 to $45,000 per year after tax, ideally. That was essentially what her after-tax income was from her employment right now. So really our goal was to try to get her as close to that after-tax income need as possible. So when we enter the numbers, again, we've got the Canada pension plan here starting at age 60, starting at $93.55, then increasing over time. By the time she's 70, it's up to $12,572. There's her OAS benefits. By the time she starts collecting with the indexing, the benefit will be up to $10,123. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull money from her registered accounts every year to get her up to her after-tax income. Now, what we wanted to do was we wanted to model what the sustainable income was. So in our projection software, we can run a sustainable spend rate based on how long the capital will last for, earning 3.5% out to her age 90. So we ran this analysis to her age 90. Now, when we did that, the confirmed after-tax income that she could sustain over her life expectancy for retirement was $32,246. And if we just view it visually, you can see that the purple here is her income going up over time. So we started at 32, and then out to age 90, she's up to $78,000 of after-tax expenses. And then if we look at the sources of income over time, she'll be pulling money from her CPP, and her OAS is in the dark blue here, and then the green is the RIF payments from her RSP accounts get converted to RIF, and then eventually she will use her tax-free savings accounts to top off income. So with the current assumptions, having no money left in her financial portfolio at age 90, she'd be able to spend roughly $32,000 after tax per year. Now, if she needed more money, she does have home equity. Now, she didn't want to work home equity into this analysis. Now, she acknowledged the fact that maybe the home will get sold, but the money from that sale would likely be used to pay for a retirement residence and maybe health care as well. So we did not move this into the analysis. Now, here's the reality. This falls short of her after-tax need. So this is $32,000. She needs over $40,000. So we need to go back to the drawing board. What can we do to try to notch up the overall income that she could generate? So let's look at another option. So I did say to her, what about deferring Canada Pension Plan and potentially deferring old age security? She wasn't super crazy about that idea. She kind of subscribed to the idea of take the money and run. But she said, sure, let's take a look at that. What's the ripple effect of deferring my government benefits? So Beth and I just reviewed the numbers again. So we pushed her Canada Pension Plan to age 70, and we pushed her old age security benefits to age 70 as well. So that enhanced her CPP by 42% and enhanced her OAS by 36%. So her benefits now $23,367 in today's dollars for CPP and $11,875 for old age security in today's dollars. So a bit of an enhancement. Now, when we ran those numbers, again, we went back to the module, to our recommendations tab, ran sustainable spending. And when we did that, the sustainable spend was $37,715 out to her age 90. So that was a difference of $5,469. That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's over $5,000 per year indexed at 3%. So that's a fairly significant difference in cash flow. Now, obviously, one of the concerns that Beth has, if we go to the chart, it does look quite a bit different. So here's the purple, more income all the way through the analysis. So now we're up to $91,544 in future dollars, so enhanced income. And the income position, the balance sheet position does look quite a bit different. So you can see that we're putting lots of pressure on her portfolio right through to her 70th year. And then at her 70th year, we've gone through most of her investment assets at that point, and now her government benefits from Canada Pension Plan in the light blue here and old age security in the dark is making up the majority of her income. Now, she does have some TFSA value supplementing some of the income she's receiving, so that by the time she gets to age 90, all financial assets are fully eroded, but she still has her real estate. So again, I don't know that she was fully taken with that option, but it was informative for her. I think when we were talking about it, Beth said to me, I'm not sure I'll take them later in terms of my government benefits, but I do want to see the numbers, and depending on the numbers in the analysis, maybe that will push me to deferring the government benefits, because her main priority was trying to maximize her cash flow and getting as close to her after-tax income as possible that she's getting from work. So we decided to run another iteration for Beth. And so what I suggested to her is, why don't we take a look at a portfolio mix that is more consistent with the portfolio you've had for years. I can appreciate your desire to become more conservative as you transition into retirement. But I reviewed with her again the whole idea of a timeline investment portfolio. In other words, money that's needed from the portfolio for cash flow in the next few years. Be very cautious with that. But money that's not needed for many years, take a more of a growth orientation. So that's the one change we made. So if you look at this particular chart here, we've changed our investment mix to 40% fixed income assets and 60% stocks. We assumed that the fixed income assets would earn 3.5% and the stock or growth portfolio would be 6.5%. So whether that's ETFs or individual stocks. So the weighted average return on the portfolio is 5.3. So remember in the previous analysis, we were using a 3.5% return. Now, this is not an aggressive portfolio, and we've been running balanced portfolios for retired clients for years. It's important to have safe harbor assets for times when markets aren't doing as well, but the probability is that this portfolio is going to generate more total return. So we made this change, and so when we go back to the planning pages, and then we take a look at, again, the recommendations tab, we run the sustainable spend rate, and when we did that, we adjusted the spend rate. It's now up to $39,829. Now it's very close to her required income. Now, she said 40 to 45, but the reality is her after-tax income right now is about 45,000. So 39,000 would still leave her a little bit light in terms of what she likely needs. But it's moved us a little bit closer. So remember when we started this journey, it was 32,246, and then we got the income up to 37,715, and now we're up to 39,829. So we're that much closer in terms of getting her to her goal. Now, I suggested to her that she may want to take a look at the impact of part-time employment income. In other words, maybe leave your current position and get out of that stressful situation. That's completely legitimate, but work in some part-time. Scale back the amount of time you're working, but have some part-time income for a period of time to take some pressure off your portfolio the first few years of retirement. So we decided to take a look at that option. By the way, if your current financial institution or advisor is not providing this kind of analysis, make sure you go to the show notes. There's a link back to our website where you can find out more information about retirement income planning, and you can arrange a complimentary call. Ultimately, what you want is peace of mind and a second opinion that you're tracking in the right direction. So be sure to take advantage of that. So after talking about part-time income, I could tell that for Beth, there was actually a little bit like the light at the end of the tunnel. I think she thought that was very doable for her. So the combination of leaving her current job that was very stressful, but if she could replace her after-tax income long-term by making a tweak and working part-time, she was very open to that idea. So we settled on $25,000 per year of part-time income until her age 65. And she thought that was very doable in terms of work opportunities. And that began to really settle in as a potential solution, leave her current role, get out of that stress, find something much less stressful, much less time intensive, and she wanted to take a look at the model. So $25,000 per year. Now, obviously, the first thing that it does, it takes pressure off her portfolio. There's 5 years, 6 years of less pressure on the account. And now let's take a look at the numbers. So again, we went to the recommendations tab, we ran sustainable spending, and the sustainable spending that we arrived at going out to age 90 for Beth was $44,220. And we hit the jackpot with that particular scenario because that was essentially her after-tax income from work. So if she ran a balanced portfolio, if she worked part-time for the next few years until her age 65, earning $25,000 per year, and then settle into full retirement in her 65th year, she deferred her government pensions, she would be able to replace her after-tax income that she's currently getting from employment. So there was a bit of a smile on her face. She has a few other issues that she has to attend to, but I think she walked out of the office knowing what the next steps would be for her transition. Now I'm going to show you in a second a comparison report so we can compare all the different scenarios and look at the real dollar differences between each. But the bottom line is we started this journey generating $32,246 per year. And at the end of this journey so far, we've enhanced that income to $44,220 per year. We've enhanced the income by $11,974 per year after tax, indexed at 3% per year. Now, this report summarizes each of the scenarios. We started out with scenario 1. That's the base case scenario at age 60, and that was taking benefits right away from CPP, very conservative portfolio. We then went to the next scenario where we deferred government pensions, so the next scenario, and then we did a scenario where we moved to a balanced portfolio. And then the final scenario is we integrated some part-time income. The most important part of this chart is the lifetime spending report. So what you can see here is the program takes all that spending over time indexed at 3% per year to life expectancy and then gives you an average. So the average after-tax spend in the base case scenario was $52,012. And if we go to the scenario where we did part-time income, it was enhanced to $71,326. So that extra $11,974 of additional after-tax income indexed at 3% per year made a huge difference in terms of the long-term spend rate for Beth and her planning. And these reports are really quite useful to look at the utility or the effectiveness of different strategies when we're doing planning for clients. So Beth walked out of the office a lot more confident. She's got some direction that she can pursue now, and I think the stress really came off of her. So again, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future videos that we post on a regular basis. And be sure to visit our website if you'd like to set up a complimentary call so you can find out more about our retirement planning services. You take care. Bye-bye.